And a happy Friday to you, Jerry Usher with Debbie Georgiani. Debbie back on the program today. Good to have you back, Deb. It's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you. Your takes always drive the show. And Debbie, today we have what I think is going to be an eye-opening and insightful and I hope uplifting and inspiring conversation.
Yeah, and a conversation we can all learn from and grow closer to God and learn something about ourselves. And I think this is going to be really helpful. Jerry, real quickly, I just wanted to address yesterday's show. It was a fabulous, what beautiful, heartfelt intentions came into the show. And thank you for entrusting them to us. We believe in the power of prayer. And I just wanted to say to everyone that flooded our email boxes with beautiful prayers for my mother, Connie. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I could feel them. Our family could feel them. My mother is doing better. She's recovering from the incidents that happened to her and the injuries. She kind of looks a little bit like Rocky Balboa from the Rocky movie, but you know, she's a tough little Italian, and
she's still beautiful.
Thank you, and she's doing well. We are moving her to a new facility where she can get really exceptional care. So thank you. Please keep the prayers up. Today's moving day, so I've got to, after the show, I'm going to put my moving hat on.
You have a lot of hats, Debbie.
I do.
Well, okay, so here you go, friends. I'm going to give you the phone number, and then you may have heard us mention this at the end of yesterday's show. You can call in at 833-288-EWTN, 833-288-3986, and we are particularly inviting minorities to call in today. I guess I would like to ask you how you would define or describe yourself. Some people would call black people black, some people African Americans. I'm not really sure. So if you happen to be an African American or a black person, we're talking about racism today. If you're Hispanic, Latino, again, you can help educate us on what the proper term to use there is. Maybe Asian, maybe you're a Pacific Islander. We want to hear from people of color, minorities, if you would classify yourself as a minority, because Debbie, this whole issue of racism, it's not going away, it's not dying down, and I think my theory is it's absolutely real and it's hideous. I think, though, there are certain groups who it's in their best interest to kind of whip this up and just keep it, ever before our eyes and in front of our attention. And, the media would be among those groups and institutions. So, again, without denying that it's there, I think, Debbie, what we want to do is hear today from real people about their real lived experience.
I couldn't agree more, Jerry. We want to hear what happens on your day-to-day experience when you're living in your neighborhoods and communities. What has been your take on this? Give us the pulse of the community and share with us maybe some things that you've uncovered about yourself and about others and about how we all get along together in our wonderful neighborhoods and dwelling places. Jerry, I'll just be the first one out there to say that, it's interesting. Growing up, and I think others may be able to relate to this who are from back east. When I first moved out west to Arizona and people found out I was New Jersey, 100% Sicilian, I got more mafia jokes. And I didn't even laugh because I didn't even know what they meant. But I got more mafia jokes just simply because they knew I was a New Jersey Italian. And I was like, oh, wow, okay, I didn't know. And growing up, it didn't dawn on me. I didn't know that other people felt this way. I didn't know it. So it's very interesting, when you learn this, and we're looking about these real life, we're trying to seek out these real life examples so we can get a better understanding of what really happens in our wonderful communities. Here's the number, 1-833-288-3986. Phone lines are already starting to light up. That's 833-288-EWTN.
When we know that prejudice and discrimination and bigotry, especially against people of color, has really been a reality. I mean, in this country, of course, you go all the way back to slavery and so forth, and at times it's been worse than at other times. And we get to a point, Debbie, where we think we're beyond it and we're past it, and all of a sudden it just kind of flares up again. So if you are in a group that we consider a minority, do you feel the sting of prejudice or discrimination? And if there's anybody who would be considered a minority, and maybe your perception is that it's not as bad as we're often led to believe. Either way, Debbie and I we're not trying to steer you to an agenda at the end of the show or anything. This show is all about you and your experiences. 833-288-EWTN. And Debbie, I think we should just set some ground rules here and basically
Yes, I
say
agree.
what. Yeah.
I don't want to get into a political fire
Right.
about this
Exactly.
because
Go ahead. No. Well, I just simply, folks, and our call screener today, Michael McCall, he's aware of this. We don't want to. This is not going to get into a shouting match. It's not going to be, a referendum on Trump or President Trump or our government or any of their ideas or their action or their inaction or whether we should reform immigration policies. That's not our concern here. This is just about when you get up in the morning, put your clothes on, you go to work, you're driving down the freeway, how are you treated? Are you treated differently at the supermarket? When you go to functions with your kids, you attend social and sports events, how are you generally treated as a person of color? Okay, 833-288-EWTN. You shared yours, Debbie, but in your own kind of day-to-day life, do you see this, Debbie? Do you see it as the problem that sometimes we sense the media saying that it is?
Well, it's funny you said that, Jerry, and you just as you were just saying that, you triggered something inside of me. I actually sometimes feel as though there can be some discrimination towards me as a woman. I really do, and because I've been in some circumstances. Jerry, I do a lot of public speaking. I do marketing efforts and development efforts for other nonprofits. And there have been times I've sat in meetings and there's all men around me and I'm the only female. And it's almost like I almost get interrogated first to make sure I can keep up in the conversation with everybody else. And it's kind of interesting because sometimes I have more experience than some of the men there, but I will say sometimes, but you know what? I've gotten over it because I've been in industries and business world where it's male dominated. And so I'm very used to having to work my way in and prove that I should be respected and, possibly, listened to in some ways. So, yeah, I don't know. How do you feel when have you ever experienced anything?
Well, I've certainly seen it. And as anybody knows, Southern California, where I live, has a very large minority population, Hispanics, Latinos, certainly a lot of African Americans. And in my own experience, Debbie, quite frankly, and I don't mean to, make myself sound holy or saintly or anything, but it's a non-issue in my life, and it always has been. I happen to be blessed with a black man as a brother-in-law who is Mary's husband, my sister who passed away a year ago. Beautiful, beautiful man. Career Marine, now head of public security for public safety for the Seattle School District. Wonderful man,
And their kids are so handsome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, of course, our company manages Deacon Harold, a black deacon in the Catholic Church, great speaker. In college and the seminary, my best friends, one was a black man from Trinidad, and the Vietnamese and the Samoans were just some of my best friends in the seminary. So as I look back over most of my life, I haven't seen it, and yet I see it presented on TV, and certain people talk about it. And so this is why I wanted to hear from people, who maybe are experiencing this. And if you are, dear friends, how are you going about maybe making a positive difference, bringing about a change in this? Because, Debbie, as human beings, let alone as Catholic Christians, as human beings, any form of discrimination based on color or anything like that is absolutely unacceptable.
Absolutely. And sinful, I think quite sinful, because, when you're doing that, when you're basing it on a visual appearance, we're talking souls here. Everybody's a soul. I keep saying it all the time. We don't encounter human beings. We're encountering human beings with souls. Very, very important. Takes on a whole different aspect. Okay, so this is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. This is your show. Phone lines are completely lit up. When a line becomes open, please jump in. Here's the number, 1-833-288-3986. That's 833-288-3986. Minority voices matter. That's the topic today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We'll be right back.
Raymond Arroyo.
We need EWTN Radio for the reason that Mother Angelica founded this enterprise. She saw this as a holistic approach, reaching the whole person, bringing them truth and life.
The leading Catholic voices are on EWTN Radio. It's the start of a new day for Morning Catholic Radio.
I actually like folding laundry.
See, some people do. Now, why would you give that over to a machine?
I love folding the grandkids' laundry. They're just little. They're tiny little clothes.
It's so cute. Little play clothes.
I like the idea of folding my laundry. It sounds therapeutic, but every time I've done it in the past, my mother's taken it off me and done it herself. It's quicker.
You know what I like? Morning Glory, Catholic from the start. Weekday mornings, 7 Eastern on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
Stay up to date on the latest EWTN TV and radio shows, books, art, CDs, and DVDs from Religious Catalog when you sign up for Wings, our weekly e-newsletter. Get Wings today at EWTN.com.
This is Life Issues with Brad Mattis, president of Life Issues Institute.
The media have recently given much attention to young pregnant women who've come into the country illegally asking for an abortion. They've been represented by zealous pro-abortion attorneys. One teen is pushing back. She wrote and signed 2 statements saying she was being coerced to request attorneys Rochelle and Miles Garza to represent her. They have represented other immigrant abortion cases. This young girl's statements also included that she did not want an abortion. No surprise here. Both Norma McCorvey and Sandra Cano, plaintiffs in Roe v. Wade and Doe v. Bolden, that legalized abortion, said they were manipulated and coerced to do the bidding of attorneys whose political agenda was to legalize abortion in America. The truth has a way of coming out.
For more information, visit our website at lifeissues.org and stay informed, more informed than you've ever been.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, and we're talking today about what is happening in your communities. What are you experiencing? What are you on the receiving end of? And what are you also putting out there? Are you being Christ in the world? How do you view others? We want to get a pulse in the communities all around the world, actually. This is a worldwide show with a worldwide audience. So please take advantage of calling in. You drive the show if you feel prompted by the Spirit. Don't sit this out. Wouldn't you agree with that, Jerry? I know you would.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, as Debbie said, asking people who would be, I guess, categorized as minorities, whatever that means to you, and we'd love to hear from you, how you would prefer to be labeled. I know, Debbie, you don't like labels, but we all have different, races.
Oh, you can label me an Italian American. I'm fine with that. Go ahead.
But yeah, so what is your lived experience? Again, we're staying away from politics and heat and all of the tension and stuff. We just want to know, when you get up and go out in the world, is it really bad? I mean, are you really, do you feel prejudice and discrimination and bigotry? And if so, how do you deal with it? How do you respond lovingly, I guess, and remain calm and keep your peace and maybe even take initiatives to help make that better? Just want to mention, I said that Michael McCall was screening call. We had too many Michaels, Debbie, helping with the show team. Michael Birchfield good. is actually answering our calls today. So Michael Birchfield, we thank you for your service today.
Yes, Jerry. There's no accident to that. Who do we ask to protect the show and all the listeners and all the callers every single show? St. Michael.
St. Michael. Yep.
There you go. Javier in Houston, Texas. You got our First Up Award listening on Guadalupe Radio Network. Hi, Javier. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, Javier.
I really love your show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I want to say, because it's a minority, but I view things a little different. Coming from Mexico and here, you can see the major differences. Like in Mexico, it was dominated in all Latin America by Catholics, right? By Catholic nation, Spain and all that. And this country is mainly conquered by Protestants. And from the very beginning, you had your black neighborhoods. They separated them. The Hispanics, over here, the Asians. That's why you have these subgroups that kind of stick to their own, because that's how society was built here. In Mexico, when the Spanish came, they tried to bring the Indians into the Catholic culture. They wanted to include everyone. They're more inclusive as a Catholic, I noticed. So, like, the Day of the Dead was an Aztec tradition, but they turned it into a Catholic one. So they bring the Virgin Mary and all that stuff. So that's one of the major differences that I see. And I lived here for 33 years in Houston. And never in my 33 years I ever met a Native American. Like, never. Not Apache or whatever, not like a full-blooded over there you see them all, they're everywhere. And some are mixed with white, Indian blood, some are all Indian. So this country was kind of built on racism, whereas Catholic nations from Spain, maybe France, or, they went over there trying to bring people into the Catholic Church, not separate them, or, it's kind of controversial, but they didn't have a genocide like the Indians here. So that's the main difference is, and we're still doing better as a nation here, trying to die off race relations, but it started from the very beginning, and I don't know if maybe it's a religious or Protestant versus Catholic ideology. And Debbie, I know you're Italian, and they had the same thing with Italians and Irish in the 1900s. 1920s, they were very prejudiced against Italians and Irish.
Very true.
Because they were Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
They're extremely prejudiced because they viewed them as they obey more the Pope, they pay the Catholic Church, they're more, I don't know, but a lot of Irish and Italians forgot they were discriminated against. Now you see some Italian and Irish descendant Catholics kind of doing the same thing they're doing to the Hispanics right now. They're just, I guess they forgot they were discriminated against. And it wasn't even that long ago, 80 years ago. So that's just giving my take on it. Because I travel a lot to Latin America. My mom goes a lot to Spain, France, and you can.
Well,
see
Javier, if I can ask you a question, Javier, as you said, you've been here 33 years. I imagine over that time you've settled in, you've gotten into a life routine, and you have friends, you have family, you have coworkers, and just sort of this universe that you live in. So, do you, as a person from Mexico, a person of color, do you sense any heated discrimination and prejudice against you? Is it occasional? Is it not at all? What is your own personal perception of that?
Well, like Houston 33 years ago, the Hispanics are kind of like in one little area. Back then, now they're everywhere. But so my community was like 90% Hispanic, so like there wasn't going to be that much discrimination because kind of like you have Little Italy and the East Coast, the Irish so you kind of already separated, so there wasn't no discrimination really. Once I left there was some, like maybe 20 years ago, like once you left your little neighborhood, mm-hmm. And you go into an area like you weren't technically supposed to be there if you're brown, by the cops. I got pulled over once. I guess I was like in an area that Hispanics aren't supposed to be, and he thought I was illegal. He pulled me over. So there was that, but it's getting a lot better. I don't want to say like, oh, it's all good, but I haven't seen any, besides that one time by a police officer 20 years ago.
Right.
But I think it's getting a lot better. But, it's a different mentality of how these countries were brought about.
That's an interesting perspective, mm-hmm. Debbie. I would not have thought of that.
I was just going to say the same thing. Yeah. Thank you so much, Javier, because you shared from your understanding from travel and your personal experience and what your take is. And that's important. That allows us to see it through others' eyes. And so we appreciate that, Javier, very, very much. Thank you for being first up on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. You got us started off strong. When you called in early, I love that, right when we were announcing the topic. So way to go, Javier. Two virtual stickers for that one. Okay, next up is Angela in Louisiana on Christ Our King Radio. Angela, thank you for waiting, and welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Wow, that was quick. Thank you.
You're welcome, Angela.
Thank you for taking my call. This is a great topic for me. I've been a Catholic all of my life. I went to Catholic school. We had a large African-American, still do, a large African-American Catholic church there with a convent next to it taught by the Sisters of the Holy Family, and a large boarding school, Holy Rosary Institute, right down the street from us. So our faith was rich and so bathed in tradition, and I felt so loved and comfortable in my parish. I married a farmer about 5 or 6 years ago and moved away from an urban area into a rural farming town. And I am suddenly in a minority situation in the church that I attend in the little town where we live. So I am suddenly out of my comfort zone as far as the music, the ministries that are available in the church are primarily, they are people of Caucasian descent. And they're much older as well. The parish has been there for quite some time, and there's a smaller African-American Catholic church almost across the street, really, and the larger church is on the other end of the track or the street. And I know that I'm not at a church to be entertained, that it is up to me to delve into the homily and listen to the true message of God and, let it reflect upon my own life. I just find that, I've put my name on lists to join the Quilting Bee, to join the other things that they have going on with the church. And I've been called for one thing, but there is a clique. And what I've decided to do is to continue going and to bring it to adoration and not feel so quick to run over to the black church across the way, though I do go to both. But I would like to encourage your listeners not to feel ostracized and do not to let that spirit dampen their enthusiasm for the Catholic faith. There are several of our neighbors that have gone over to a non-denominational church,
right?
Because they feel more comfortable
more welcome.
there.
Yeah. But Angela, you've said so many. You've said so many great things based on your experience and your observation of things.
Yes.
I just want to rewind a little bit and address something you said about cliques. Unfortunately, we know that cliques exist in pretty much every group you can imagine. I mean, all the way from sporting groups all the way to work environments, there's these cliques. And I'll tell you that I used to do a talk on this, actually, that as Christians, we're called to not be in these cliques that we don't welcome others and we don't, open it up. In fact, our Holy Father has told us, stop, get from out from behind the walls, get out there and start being welcoming, start being Christ to others. So I just want to say that, prayers are with you in that I hope you break down those cliques and let them see the beautiful Angela that you are and all you have to offer. And those things start to diminish. First of all, you have a great name. You're named after the angels. So I don't know why they wouldn't want you in the group. I would take you in the group. But you know what I'm saying, Angela? We've got to work towards that because cliques they're everywhere.
I know. And in my professional life before joining my dear husband here in beautiful God's country out here, I was used to being the minority there. And, I just forged ahead, and it was just the way that it was. And I made myself comfortable, irregardless to where I was. But my church life had always been the place where I could run to
Gotcha.
on Sundays and get my fill, and then be ready to jump back in there on Monday with this other life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, Angela, I want to join Debbie in affirming you, and I thank you for your strength because, like you said, a lot of people would turn and run and go elsewhere, and you've got that very comfortable option of the African American Catholic Church in close proximity, but you feel that the church you go to is where you should be and where you belong, and I presume your husband belongs as well. And you're really following the footsteps of giants, Dr. Martin Luther King and so many others. I know you would probably blush with me putting you in the same sentence with any of them, but really, Debbie, what it is, it's when we find ourselves in situations like Angela has described, and we stay there, we stick with it, and we say, I'm not going to be deterred because this is where I want to be, this is where I'm experiencing God, and try and just maybe by the humility of your life, change people's hearts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But Angela, I agree with Jerry. You're a strong woman, and I love that. And I think you're, the community is so blessed to have you, especially in Angela in the group. You know how if you've listened to the show on a regular basis, Angela, you'll know that I've studied angels for 13 years. Absolutely love our guardian angels. So you're awesome. You're blessed. Thank you so much for giving us another perspective to this. And we really need to, this is beautiful. The direction of this show is turning out just beautiful. We're learning, we're growing. The reason why I know is I'm taking tons of notes. So thanks, Angela, again. And thanks to all of you calling in at 833-288 EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. We're talking today of what's going on in your communities. Minority voices matter. We'll be right back.
This is a Lenten journey with Timothy Cardinal Dolan.
We adore thee, O Christ, and we praise thee, because by thy holy cross thou hast redeemed the world. A beautiful prayer for every day of Lent, particularly on Fridays. A beautiful chemistry of our Lenten readings at daily Mass is that the first reading will give us a great character from the Old Testament, and then in the Gospel we see how Jesus fulfills that. Look at the two readings today. We got the book of Genesis, which shows us Joseph. Joseph, rejected by his people, left for dead, who will become the Savior of his people. And then in the gospel, we got Jesus, rejected by us, his Father's children, thrown into a borrowed hole in the earth, and then rises to become Savior of us all. Jesus is the new Joseph.
A Lenten Journey with Timothy Cardinal Dolan is available on DVD through the EWTN Religious Catalog. This DVD includes all 47 segments for each day of Lent, from Ash Wednesday to Easter Sunday. To get your copy, log on to our website, EWTNReligiousCatalog.com, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or call 1-800-854-6316.
Jumpstart your faith. Now coming to a parish conference or retreat near you, world-renowned Catholic radio host Jerry Usher.
It's not enough to stop doing whatever it is that's keeping you from union with God. For most of us, there are serious issues that need to be addressed first in order to be able to embrace that life of virtue. All those things we're all called to, but which every one of us struggles to achieve.
Invite Jerry Usher today. Contact thirdmillenniummedia.com.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio, and the show re-airs at midnight Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. So if you're not able to catch the live show or the podcast or the archive, you can tune into your local affiliate at midnight Eastern and catch the day's broadcast. And as Debbie said going into the break, we're talking today about Minority Voices Matter. We hear that group, Black Lives Matter, and whatever it is that they stand for. We wanted to cast the net today for anyone who is in a category that would be considered a minority. And without, we're not getting political or talking policy or changes to immigration or anything like that. We're just simply wanting to hear, as you go about your day-to-day life, do you feel the prejudice, the bigotry, the discrimination? And if so, how do you deal with it? How do you respond lovingly, charitably? And have you taken any steps, initiatives to maybe change things in your part of the world? So we're going to go back to the phones, and we have Earleen in New York City listening on the EWTN app. Hi, Earleen. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Well, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I just found I've heard about your, the radio itself, but I didn't find it until recently when Mother Miriam was on the air, and that's how I found Catholic radio.
Beautiful.
But in terms of discrimination, my girlfriend and I, we talk about it on occasion, and it's when you say that someone is stupid, you're not saying that the skin color or whatever is their mentality or whatever it is wrong. And it has nothing to do with the color of your skin. But for my girlfriend and I and a whole bunch of us, we have two because we're also disabled. So there's another category of discrimination. They can discriminate you as a maybe a white person, a black person, or whatever person, but they can also discriminate against you because of your disability. Because we all have disabilities, no matter what, how we're standing in life.
Right. Right. Well, that's very true. I've actually seen that a lot. And let me ask you this, Earleen. Because of this, that you said there's two things really that maybe have you be vulnerable, I guess, to the community, for people to make attacks or make assessments or even make judgments. How has that changed you? How has it made you stronger? I mean, or have you become bitter towards it, or maybe guarded about people? What has it done for you? Because I think that's really important. If people know that it could impact your soul or your character, your heart, or maybe people would think twice before they react or say something.
Well, at first we get mad, but what we do is we try to, at least I try to soften the blow a little bit and say something to them. But then as we all can, you can tell who's open to listen and take in growing information and who's not. Some people just don't care. They don't want to learn that, just because I'm in a wheelchair or just because I use a service animal or whatever doesn't make me any less human. Right. I'm approaching it in a different direction.
Well, Earleen, it's so unfortunate that we have discrimination on so many different bases, if you will, and not just skin color, but like you said, disability and intellectual acumen and all sorts of things. Debbie, why we are such judgmental and discriminatory people in those areas, is really kind of, I guess it's just a product of fallen human nature, but it's very, very sad, really.
And very destructive to the human spirit. Mm-hmm.
Your applications. Look at your applications that you give to somebody to fill out for a job or for apartments. There was a time you didn't ask them what the color of their skin was before they moved in. Now you do. Why?
Right.
Well, even when you go to doctor's offices, I find it very interesting. There's like a whole page of our ethnicity and our background. I'm thinking, where is this coming from? But yeah, it's a really good point, Earleen, and thank you again. You're a strong woman, and I think that's awesome. And we can all learn and grow based on what you share with us and your experience. So thank you very, very much for calling in. Thanks for finding us. Don't be a stranger. Call again. Okay, thank you, Earleen. Bernice, you have been waiting so patiently. As a matter of fact, I believe you're going to get our Virtual Patience Award, Bernice, in Allen, Texas, listening on Guadalupe Radio Network. Welcome to Take Two.
Oh, thank you for taking my call. God bless you. I would like to start saying that I absolutely love U.S. God blessed me becoming a mother here of a beautiful 12-year-old boy and a 10-year-old girl. Me and my husband, I moved here after I married my husband from Bangladesh, and I am Mexican. We always try to put U.S. as priority to never make the kids feel that our countries are a better place to grow. We celebrate everything like Americans will do because we want the kids to have a sense of belonging. But our situation is difficult because my husband is not Catholic, not even Christian, and we face double discrimination, to be honest, in certain situations, not everywhere we go. He, as an Indian, is treated much better than people treat Mexicans. They understand he maybe having a higher education or more money, and nobody ever complains about his accent. It's so wonderful to see people treat him very nice. However, when we go to his parties, I'm not welcome. As soon as they know I am Catholic, I do not dress up like them. So it's like traveling in U.S. I enter the room and it's their country, it's their culture, and I become invisible. So we are trying our best to avoid those situations because it makes me feel very sad. And then when we go to the church, everybody is very welcoming, really inclusive with my husband. But we are the typical family that people will only say hi. They are curious as, how did you meet? And where are you from? And where is he from? Oh, look at the kids. They are so cute. But we never, for some reason, it's so difficult for us to make profound and meaningful friendships. So the reason I'm calling is to ask for prayers because it is affecting our social life and loneliness is hitting hard on me. I am a stay-at-home mom, and I started to do hourly jobs. I did face a lot of discrimination, ugly comments that will make me cry and wonder, why did I even go to college if I had to come to U.S. and face these kind of things? People don't see I'm trying my best. They do not know my story. So what you were telling the caller before is that before you make an ugly comment, understand that while we are begging God for a beautiful day, you are coming and destroying that prayer, and you may not know how hard it is for somebody. So I had the blessing to find, I am sorry, my voice is breaking, a very beautiful job, very nice job, but although my boss chose me and hired me, as soon as 2 weeks passed, she started to make very racist comments and make me repeat everything 3-4 times because she will not understand my accent, and made my life very miserable over there. So I quit because that wasn't helping me, and I am currently looking for another job. The reason I'm calling is for prayers because on all the time that I have been in U.S., as I say, people are very nice. They treat me wonderfully, but it's up to the point that I do not feel that I belong in my husband's circle of friends or in the church or somewhere else. Everybody's nice to me, but that's it.
Bernice,
So,
have you discussed this with your husband? Is your husband aware of how you
Yes.
perceive this? Yeah.
Yes, but for him it's really hard to understand because he's successful at work. He's trying his best for this family, but he came here as a student, and I don't think he understands what the isolation is for me because I quit a very nice life, if you want to say it that way, a large family, lots of friends that I keep until today. And as soon as I came, the language barrier, always home alone. I do try my best. I cannot tell you I am depressed because I pray and I understand depression will be even offensive to God for all the blessings that I receive.
Right.
But I cannot help to feel the loneliness.
Right.
The doorbell never rings. My phone never rings. And I'm sorry, it's just so hard. And my husband does not understand. Because,
Right.
In his culture, men
Bernice,
and women go different in a party. So
right.
it's
Bernice,
hard for him to understand. Yes.
we get it. We hear you. We hear you loud and clear through the tears. And let me share something with you. Your heart is beautiful. Okay, you do have a great, gigantic, worldwide family and friends in the Take Two family. So you're not alone. And Bernice, you have your guardian angel, Psalm 91. Your guardian angel is right with you at all times. There's not just Bernice there. There's Bernice and her guardian angel. Okay, so you're not alone. Don't fall into that trap because that's when sadness, despair, depression, all those things can creep up. But here's something. We're not counselors, Bernice, but this is just me talking to you as a sister in Christ. Please get some support and help. Find a therapist, go back to the church, ask for a deacon or a priest or a pastor or minister or whoever lay leader you can talk to, and please get some support. There are people out there you can buddy up with, and even if it's just by email for now, you can keep the relationships going. Don't let yourself fall into that lie that Satan tells all of us, Bernice, that we're alone in this world fighting against the world. We're going to pray for you right now, the Take Two family, that those opportunities and the right people come in your place and show you the love and the acceptance and the beauty and the respect that you deserve and you should get. So this is our gift to you. We're going to pray hard. Does that sound okay with you?
Thank you so much.
You got
Thank
it.
you very much. I didn't want to say my name because I knew I was going to cry, and I feel so ashamed. But thank you. It is great to find the radio. When I turn it on, I know that God intended me to listen to you. And thank you so much for the prayers. I don't need them. Thank you very much. God bless you.
God bless you, Bernice. And yeah, come on, Take Two family. Let's pray for her and anybody else in similar situations like that. Angel and Case and Nick, you are all going to be next here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Phone number is 833-288-EWTN. Just having as you can hear, a real-life, candid, and sometimes very heartfelt conversation about being a minority in today's world. And is the racism, the prejudice, and the hatred and all of that, is it really as bad as, sometimes you watch the media and you think it's on every street corner, and we know it is. It's a problem. It's really bad. But we want to hear from you. If you are part of a minority group, what is your own personal lived experience, just so we can really kind of have a real life understanding of this versus what we always see and hear, Debbie. So
right. I couldn't agree more. Can I just share something real quickly on how we can all stay connected and get news and just feel like we're part of the bigger EWTN family? National Catholic Register. National Catholic Register. It's EWTN's National Catholic Register is America's most trusted Catholic news source with a comprehensive view of the world from a distinctly Catholic perspective. And here's the coolest thing about this. You can try 6 free issues with the compliments of EWTN. So if you like it, you can I can't even say it. Subscribe later at a 35% savings off the newsstand price. So that gets even better. What's such a deal? So to get started, all you got to do is visit ncregister.com today. ncregister.com today. You go ahead, Jerry. I'm going to take a sip of water because I can't talk today.
Okay. Well, we heard from Santiago via email at take2@ewtn.com. Santiago says, I can't call because I'm working, but here's my take. I am of Hispanic descent. What I have noticed is that no matter if you are from Puerto Rico, Central, or South America, you are told to go back to Mexico. I haven't experienced it in person, but I have friends who have. He says, I see specifically in social media how our undocumented immigrant brothers and sisters are insulated and treated with no respect. He says, even from Catholics in our own community. Very, very sad to hear that. I thought we are supposed to love one another. When it comes to immigrants, many both hate sinner and sin. They say they don't, but their comments say otherwise. Sincerely, Santiago. So thank you for sharing that, Santiago, with us via email. Who's up next, Deb?
Thank you so much. Okay, up next is Angel in Texas. Boy, we've got the angels all around us today. Listening on Guadalupe Radio Network. Hi, Angel. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Good morning. Good morning. How are y'all doing this morning?
Very well, Angel. How are you?
Hello?
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Can you hear me? Oh, okay.
Yep.
Hey, guys, I was just going to say I love the topic today. And, as far as an Hispanic, I've never really encountered anything as discrimination or stuff on my behalf for me. But my parents did. My dad was born in Mexico, and my mom was born in South Texas in the Valley, and they did experience a lot of discrimination back in the 30s, 40s, and late 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, and even in the 60s. And they would tell us the stories and talk to us about it. So I think that was kind of like a lesson learned for me, with all the stories and the experience that they encountered, and they were open to us, and because I come from a large family, and they told us of the things that they had gone through, and I think that was kind of an eye opener on my experience. I can't speak for the rest of my siblings, what they've encountered, but for me, it was one of the kind of an eye opener of how to treat people and how to get along, with any other race, whether it be Caucasian or Black African American, or Asian or whatever. And I'm like you, Jerry, and in our family too. We have it. We have a mixture of races in our family. God bless, and we have African Americans, we have Caucasians, we have Asians. I have them all in our family, and we all seem to get along, and race has never been an issue with us.
Well, yeah, that's beautiful, Angel, and your family. It sounds like really symbolizes or personifies what the word Catholic means. I don't know if they're all Catholic, but Catholic means universal, and you've really got wonderful representation of a number of different races there in your family. And Debbie, I think he makes an important point here that. He talked about how his parents may have felt a little bit more of the discrimination than he does, or in his own personal experience, but they were able to pass on their experiences just to kind of, I don't know, it's educational, and I think it can prepare kids for what might come, and hopefully, thanks be to God, hasn't really materialized so much in Angel's life as it did in his parents' lives.
Right. And here's the other thing, too, Angel. We're getting a lot of Facebook comments and a lot of emails coming in that Hispanic families, their children don't want to learn to speak Spanish. They want to only speak English, and they don't want to learn Spanish. And I just want to say something. I think that's really quite a missed opportunity, because when I was over traveling in Europe, the European kids growing up speak 3 and 4 languages, and they're very proud that they can speak multiple languages. We should be proud that we can learn a language, speak a language, and be proud of our heritage. So I would just encourage folks, if you have an opportunity to learn the language of your ancestors, I think you should. I'm learning Italian. So Angel, your view on this is really helpful, and we appreciate it so very, very much. You sound like you have great parents that were very, very strong and raised a great family. So thank you, and God bless you.
Yeah, thanks, Angel, for the call. Appreciate that.
Case is up next.
Case, go ahead.
In Birmingham, Alabama, on Sirius XM 130. Is it Case or Casey?
It's Casey.
Hi, Casey.
Hi there. I wanted to just share my experience with you as a Catholic Christian in a Protestant southern land in Birmingham. And, we live in the South. We chose to send our youngest to a Protestant school that's in our community. What we share with those parents is how we raise our kids in terms of morality is very similar. However, for the first time, I really felt like a true minority. My child had International Day project at school, and the kids had to pretend as if they were missionaries from different countries. So we have an auditorium full of kids and parents, and one group was highlighting Brazil, and they talked about how previously Brazil had been 85% Catholic, but thanks to the missionary efforts now, so many have left the Roman Catholic Church and now have become Christian. So when I heard that, my heart sank, and I just realized, okay, it's getting real. So that was really the first time that I felt just completely like a minority, truly.
Yeah. Well, Casey, I would say this may be the best option for your children for an education, and you can certainly teach them the faith. And I know you're probably working overtime on doing that. And if I can put it this way, without offense, cleaning up any theological errors that are presented like that in terms of how they're being, the Catholic Church is being portrayed. But, you want the best for your kids. It's obvious. And you just have to be vigilant. That's all. Right, Debbie? I mean, in a situation like this, and I don't know if there are options for Catholic schools or not, because this may be the best option, but still,
well, I really do feel like the Lord is calling me here. I took a huge group. It was supposed to be 20. It ended up being 12 to Hansfield, to Mother Angelica's Shrine of the Most Blessed Sacrament.
Nice.
I feel like maybe these folks, I'm the only Catholic that looks like a Christian to them.
Right.
So kind of like the previous caller, Angela, she doesn't feel called to go with her, quote, own kind across the street, because that would be comfortable. But I don't think there would be any growth in that for myself, for my kids, or for the others.
Well, just a couple things. I actually have some experience on this because I had a lot of families that used to come to religious education that experienced some of the different circumstances that you're just now experiencing. And I used to say to them all the time, when you're working with our Protestant brothers and sisters, you need to remind them, you need to educate them that we are Catholic Christians. We are Christian. We are Christian. We are Christian. Because they constantly want to refer to us sometimes as Catholic without the Christian. And so when you do that, you're immediately, separating us into it's us against them. And so if you're going to be in the beautiful Protestant communities, we need to just educate one another. My very, 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 very best friend in the world, Kristen, that I talk about, was raised a very staunch Baptist. And she just yesterday actually said to me, it's because of you that I just have fallen in love with the Catholic faith. So, we just have to keep reminding that we're Christians. So I hope that helps. And more power to you. We'll be praying for you that your family thrives in the community and in the school. So thank you, Casey.
Okay, Nick, we're going to get to Nick next, listening on Guadalupe Radio in South Texas. Nick, we have got about 2 minutes, brother. So what would you like to share?
Thank you very much. I'll make it brief and concise. I'm of Hispanic background. I'm a federal advisor, people in Washington, D.C., and it's true, unfortunately, that in the United States, unconscious discrimination does exist or a bias everywhere. We actually took a training class, and they asked us to take it because we interface with presidential appointees up in D.C. for the Southwest and things of that sort. And the class was basically told us admitted to us that there's bias to our idea because of our skin color, black hair, or last Hispanic names, or for color of our skin is other than white. So they've actually coached us not to try to make big changes, just small things, because the only people that will move ahead to change the nation for the better are the yes men. They're a minority. So they said, just try to look like that. We were actually told of that. It's sad and unfortunate, but we as a nation need to work on internalizing racial equality. Because I traveled to other countries on behalf of our government, and I see it. Other countries do not segregate people racially like they do in one of your callers earlier mentioned there in Mexico. They blend together. Here in the States, there was a trend because of Protestantism to eradicate, to get rid of people, even though they were Native American. So it's internalized. It can only be changed by teaching this at home and school when people are young. That's the other major point of our training classes as a federal advisor that they told us. So we really need to make an effort because it is a fact. It does exist in the United States, and it's not helping us as a nation.
Education, Nick, is absolutely crucial. And one thing I would incorporate into that in terms of educating our kids, Nick and Debbie, is, if your kids, if you're a Caucasian family, get to know African-American family or a Hispanic family or an Asian family and do things with them. Have them over, go over to see them, let your kids play together. I think, we often say, Debbie, if we want our kids to think about religious vocations, what do? We bring priests and nuns into the house and get them around priests and nuns, right?
Yes.
So if we want them to grow up without these walls of prejudice, there has to be education and learn to accept all people at the youngest possible age.
And bigotry and racism and discrimination and prejudices, so it's born out of ignorance. And so you're right. Thank you, Nick. God bless you for that. All the others, we are so sorry we couldn't get to you. And all the comments, we're reading them. We'll try to respond. You can keep the conversation going. You can always email us at take2, the number 2, at EWTN.com. Jerry?
By the way, Bernice, if you're still listening, Migdalia, I hope I said the name right, sent an email, says, I'm praying for you. So, Bernice, you see, the Take Two family is already surrounding you. So let the peace of the Lord be with you. And speaking of peace, Debbie, that's our topic on Monday.
Peace be with you on Monday's show. Don't forget to check out our Best of on Saturday. Until Monday, have a beautiful and blessed weekend. We'll see you real soon.